Right, so the colours that we're going to use for our picture are going to keep it nice and simple, not too many colours. Obviously there is a little bit of blue in here which we'll come to later on, but mainly we're going to use a crimson, so like an alizarin crimson. We're going to, or if you've got magenta, because this is quite pinky, magenta would be okay as well. We're going to darken it with our black, we're going to lighten it with our white, and then there's slightly, excuse me, slightly more ochre type shades in here, so some yellow ochre as well. So those are the 4 colours we're going to use, and we're going to use flat brushes. I always find flat brushes work well with acrylics. If you've got any stiff brushes, that can be quite nice as well. I've got lots of these sort of number 6 hog brushes, or stiff flat brushes are fine, and we will need a little thin one as well to just do like the cracks and the crevices. But the first thing we're going to start off with is just doing a little bit of blending on our scrap paper so that you can see how to achieve the effect. So I'm going to put a bit of black down on my palette. They don't put loads out because we're not using that much paint, and it's best to put too little out and then add to it than put loads out and then just waste it. So this is alizarin crimson, I say crimson, a magenta. Have you all got those colours?
I've got processed magenta.
Yeah, that's fine, that's a really good colour. So that processed magenta, cyan and yellow are your general sort of primary printing colours. That's why in your ink cartridges you probably notice those names. So have a sort of, again, a wad of tissue at the side of you to help, and just on some, say, back of something, or a board, or back of a sketch pad even, we're just going to look at how to put down some colour and blend it. So I'm not adding any water, I'm taking this red, and if we put that down, I'm just going to use my flat brush for this, medium flat brush. We don't have to wash our brushes very often either. Then take some black, and we can sort of blend that in. And a lot of this, when I was having a bit of practice today, it's a lot of dry brushing to try and get that sort of soft edge. We've not got very hard edges on these. So if we almost mix the colours on our paper, we don't get a line of red and a line of black, we get some black and some red, and then these sort of muted colours in between. Again, we can so if we have to do, obviously acrylics dry very quickly, so we have to work quite quickly. Obviously black is a very dark, strong pigment, so it will affect the other colours next to it quite quickly. So we can blend them and hopefully get a bit of, rather than solid lines, we get this variation. I'll get a bit of white out as well. Rather than washing my brush, I'm just going to dab it on that piece of dry paper. I can pick up some white there and I can blend this in. So we'll pick up the pink and then blend in the colour. So just sort of dry brushing to help to blend those in. And back in with a little bit of red there. So we're mixing the colours on the paper or the board. just put down just put a flat bit down here. So lighten that with a little bit of white. I think the more you do as we get working on this picture, it'll become easier. Right, I'm just going to wash my brush off now and just look at these crevices that we've got. So I'm going to take my fine brush, I'm going to take black, mix it in with the red, it's not dead black, and just, if you just look at some of the lines on here, you can just add a little bit of water to that. Put some of these splits in the rock coming down. This is a 0 nylon brush. If you want to get a nice fine line, you could also use your rigger brush. Wash my brush off, so I'm not going to use that again for a bit, and perhaps go to my smaller brush. I'm just cooling, so I can pick up that pinky colour that we've just used and just soften down the edge of this little sort of crack or crevice that we've just painted in, so it's not such a stark line. Soften it a little bit on the edge, and then we're going to just pick up some white on my brush, and we can see that some of the edges are just getting a little bit lighter. It's a good idea sometimes to just do a few tests. Just going to blend that in a little bit. So we get that light sort of edge, we can go a little bit darker on this side as well if we want. Just small brush strokes, just blending the colours in. Is it me saying the class is on? I think wondering if Nora missed my second email. So I don't know what size this one was. I'm sure it was quite big, probably a few feet. We're only doing little suggestions of it. So just to try out a few little test samples. If it's all too wet, we need to keep it damp. Well, not damp, I would say not dry, so that we can blend, but obviously it does dry quite quickly and sometimes we have to go back over it. Put some tissue there so not be able to put too much water into it.
What used to do?
So we've so it's a little bit lighter down this edge. Okay, so just a little bit, so I just soften the edge with the same colour and then it picked up a little bit of white and just went down the edge, just to try and show that it's catching a little bit of light. So we've got light on one edge. And then when you feel, you can spend ages doing this if you want, but what we will then come to is to actually sketch out, but using our paintbrush, the picture. So I'm going to use this little flat one. So I'm just going to take a little bit of this blacky brown, lots of water with it, and well, I've got black and red, which is sort of brown colour. So I'm just going to sketch out this. Might not fit all of it onto your paper because you might have more of a square piece of paper. Really, we've just got layers. Easy to get lost and see which bit you're doing, isn't it? Don't worry if it doesn't fill your paper as well. We can always trim them afterwards. I think I've got that approximately drawn out. It's sometimes easier to do it with a paintbrush than it is a pencil.